Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Nerds in a Podcast. And today we are continuing with our Blumhouse movie review series.
Woo!
Today we're talking about Black Phone,
Not Black Mirror,
not
as
Black Mirror, which I
Casey
kept
keeps
calling
calling
it
it.
all day, and tried to look it up, and it was like giving me a TV show, and I was like, this is not what I'm wanting. I don't know what I'm wanting.
Yeah, she texted that earlier, and I read it as Black Phone, not as Black Mirror. And then she was like, "I mean Black Phone," and I looked up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, she did call it Black
I
Mirror."
was like, whoopsie.
I knew what she was talking
Two
about.
definitely different things. Um,
Yes,
but this is a Blumhouse movie. Black Mirror.
one of
What? Or
their
Black Phone.
most
I keep calling it
Black
Black
Phone.
Mirror. I'm going to call it Black Mirror so many times, probably.
It's one of their more famous ones too.
Yeah. And
Like,
when did this one come out? Because the second one just came out.
yes,
Let's see.
Black Phone came out in 2021.
Okay. So it's like still a fairly new movie,
Mm-hmm.
newer
Mm-hmm.
Blumhouse movie. And it was part of the Horror Nights Terror Tram
It was.
thingy majig.
I am sad that the only thing in the Terragram that was Black Phone was literally just the phone on the wall ringing. And I want to say the grabber might have jumped out at some point. He didn't jump out at us. I think he jumped out at the people behind us. But like it was like a weird little corner.
Which is
And
crazy too, because like in the little like poster that I got, he's like a really big like part of
yeah.
the poster.
Yeah, and I think that's because he's like one of I think between the movie coming out this year and then he's just like one of like Blumhouse's more notorious people. But
Hmm.
I feel like the Terror Tram definitely could have had because obviously we're doing movie review, spoiler alerts everywhere if you haven't seen it. But I feel like with the grabber, like I definitely like the fact that like he popped out. One, I think it probably should have been a little more often, but I also think they could have had like all of the um dead children like
Hmm.
haunting the area and like have like voice lines that they would just like mouth to as we like walk through that section. It was like a weird just like a little it was like literally a little phone in the corner and that was it. And I hadn't seen the movie at that
Yeah.
point, so I was just like,
You're like,
oh,
okay.
yeah, especially because a few people when I had asked for Blumhouse movie recommendations when I was doing research for Spooky Week, a couple of people had said Black Phone, and I was like, oh, okay, so like it was like good enough for like people who didn't know each other to say, yeah, you should watch Black Phone for sure.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool, especially because again, more notorious of the Blumhouse movies. Um, but I really liked Black Phone.
I think it was definitely one of the better Blumhouse movies for sure.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think it's definitely like solid enough to go into my Halloween rotation of movies.
hmm.
Like it's one of those like if I have time, I will watch it, but it will not be like at the front like Scream and Halloween Town are.
Hmm.
But it was really good. I didn't realize that Ethan Hawke was the grabber.
I didn't
And
realize that either, actually, and just until you
yeah.
said that.
Yeah. He does his voice is definitely different in this movie than like his like usual voice. Also his mannerisms are very different. So I remember when I was watching this and I'm like, "Oh, cuz I don't know I know I've mentioned this like a couple episodes back. Ethan Hawke for me is everywhere right now. Every single movie I'm watching or TV show, he's just there. And I'm like,
He's just,
sir, I know
you're
you.
like,
I know you
hello.
work. Yeah, I know you work, but like, man, you're in like ever since I watched the one movie with him and Pedro Pascal, it's like he's in like everything else I've ever seen the last few months. Um, but definitely a very iconic character for him, and I think he was superb in this movie. It was Blumhouse to me, at least so far in my Blumhouse journey. It's not scary, like jump scary.
It's very
It's
suspenseful.
yes, and you're like, "Oh my god." Like it's very like twisty and turny, but like not and again, I don't have a lot of horror movie knowledge, but to me, it feels like it twists and turns in a very unexpected way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not super stereotypical, which I enjoy. I also like that this particular movie, which kind of gives it the creep factor, is very realistic.
Right, like children getting grabbed off the streets. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and like a black van grabbing them, and like I
Right,
mean,
like pretending to drop their groceries and then being like, get in the van.
yeah, and then like drugging them and then shoving them in the van and then having them go missing. Um so like that was really interesting, and definitely again it takes place I believe in the 70s,
I was
I
gonna say
want to
like
say.
70s or 80s. I couldn't remember, but
Yeah,
it's
which
definitely
is
like
kind of like,
older times.
yeah, so before any kind of technology really and any kind of way of tracking anybody. um it's definitely again a very interesting. I had no idea what this movie was about.
Me either.
The only thing I knew is for whatever reason it had to do with a phone,
Hmm.
and that I didn't even know he was called the Grabber until I think I had seen like a TikTok or something that had said he was the Grabber, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was I didn't know that's what he was called, but
His
okay.
official
Um,
name.
yeah. The children in this movie, um, the one who plays Finney and the one who plays Gwen, like they definitely have like a career in horror movies if they
Especially the
want it.
little girl. Holy shit, she's a
Oh,
great actress.
Gwen is literally like a 10 out of 10 in this movie, and I've seen the second one. She is also a 10 out of 10 in the second one. So I'm just like, girl, you gotta be like the next Scream Queen situation happening, because she is
Hmm.
so talented. And so like the believability is quite insane. I'm just like, wow, you
Yeah, like
need an award or something.
when she was getting like whooped by her dad, I was like, holy shit, dude, like this is
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. Yeah, that, and then like anytime like she had like a vision of any kind, I'm like, "Ooh, she give me the chills." And then like I love her interaction also with basically any adult in this film.
Yeah.
Because she like is cursing at them and it's just like, if you don't believe me, I'll figure out how to make you believe me. And it's such a different connotation to how she interacts with like her brother and like people her age. Because like when we first meet her, she's very like sweet and she's like ragging on her brother, which is kind of typical brother sister relationship.
Hmm.
Um, but like I love when she's always like, "Oh, yep, I'm going with my friends. Have fun with dad for the night. Have fun with the drunk at home.
Yeah.
Pew pew, finger guns like out of the shot situation." Um, but like she feels so realistic. Like definitely one of the most realistic little sisters I've ever seen on film,
Hmm.
because she wasn't whiny or needy or like she I mean she's out there like punching people for her brother,
Yeah,
and
she can take care of herself.
yeah, like she can do it. She'll be fine. And like she knows it's really interesting to see that like she knows when she can be like a loudmouth and like talk back to certain adults, but also when to just not say anything and take that butt whooping from her dad, which is
Hmm.
really like awful to see. It's like, so it was one of those like that was the only like true part that I was like, oof, this is gonna be an intense movie, because that alone was
Yeah.
so intense. And that's like at the
Yeah.
beginning too. And so it's like they have this like really tragic story where their mom, do they said she like committed suicide in the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I think
So,
they said it. Well, they said it at the end when he was like talking to her, and
oh
he
yeah,
was
because they
like,
didn't know. So they
"Yeah,
were just like she died, like she got like murdered, and they never caught the murderer or anything like that. And so they're just living with their father, who is like absolutely like lost in this universe without his wife, especially because he never got any answers,
yeah,
you know at that point. And so it's like a super, like, it's like the kids against the world kind of situation, which is always really sad to see. Um, but yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting the older brother Finney to be the one to get nabbed. Normally, it's the younger sister.
Hmm.
Normally, the little sister is the one that gets kidnapped, and it's always the older sibling trying to find them. So I thought it was really interesting that they had picked Finney to be the main character, but also it was really sad because like before him, there was like five kids, four
Yeah.
kids that had gotten taken by the grabber before him, and so it's like he knows, like he knows of the first kid that got taken, but like the other three were like his classmates, which is kind of crazy. Like I can't imagine having so many people that you like see every day and sit in class with just like disappear
Yeah.
and have like no answers for why they disappeared. And then it's always really sad because they had like a couple of instances where the parents were like hanging up flyers or handing out flyers for their missing child. And it became like one of them had made a comment like, oh no, you know, Mrs. So and so's handing out flyers again and stuff like that. So it's just like so sad because you can tell the parents are just distraught over losing their like 12-year-old kid.
Yeah. And especially because they're all going missing.
Yeah. And like, I mean, like, there's nothing like to go off of. They have no evidence, no like sightings, nothing. Like they're like grasping at straws, the detectives and stuff. Um, so until like literally Gwen has a vision, and she was
Yeah.
like, "There's a black van." Or black balloons or something. She meant, I think it was the
The
balloons she had
balloons. Yeah.
mentioned. And they were just like they had not told anybody about that. They had not the that had not been released to the public. So the police were like, how do you know about the black balloons? And she's like, I had a vision. And they were like, how do you know? And she's like, I had a vision. I don't know what else to tell you except I had a vision. Um,
Right.
and it's just like, and so like I like that like her visions kind of like help her eventually find her brother. Like this is one of those instances where like a scary movie has a relatively happy ending, at least for our
Hmm.
main characters. Unfortunately, there are, you know, still
They're
dead
still dead
children.
children. Right.
Yeah.
Not
um
so happy, but the main character lives, so that's cool, I guess.
yeah, highly traumatized main characters, but they do live. They do get to live their life. Um, but I do love, it's a very simple movie. Like there's nothing like over the top, or the only thing like supernatural about it is literally Gwen's like visions, and obviously the phone itself is supernatural. So that's where like the black phone comes in, is like the grabber like throws these children in a basement that has like an old black phone in it. It the wire is not connected to anything. It's literally just the phone hanging out there, but the main character Finney can hear it ring, which is creepy because when he answers it, it's a kid who doesn't
Dead children.
remember. Yeah, they don't ever remember. They're like caught in the veil basically because they don't remember who they are at first, and then he like kind of like talks with them, and they kind of like he. By the second one, he realizes it that it's like people that have gone, the kids that have gone missing, and
Mhm.
he's like, I don't, you know, there, and it's. I love the way that they like set it up that like each child is like, this is what I did, but do it this way because I messed up. Or like, don't go up the stairs and run because he's literally waiting for you to go up the stairs and run, and that's when he's going to kill you. So it was definitely like a group effort to get Finney out of the basement.
Yes, but they did. He got out of the basement.
He did. He did get out of the basement. And then poor Gwen had the vision because like she's like trying to like help the police, and then the second she snuck out of the house to go and find Finney in the dark, I'm like, homegirl, please don't do that. You're like asking for the grabber to come get you. But I felt so like it's one of those again, like kind of like tense thriller movies because like these visions are like leading her to her brother, and simultaneously Finney is like figuring out how to get away from the grabber and get out of there. But then like it almost feels like they're gonna meet, and then it like hits a wall because she brings the police to the wrong house.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing in that house, and it's just a regular house, and she's like, no, I know he's in the basement. Well, it turns out it was the house across the street, which is crazy. um I also like the like random like tidbit that the grabber's brother was like staying with him
Mm-hmm.
and had his whole little like map
He was
with the
like, yeah.
yarn and the pins, and he's like, it's gotta be somewhere in this like square block. And I'm like, bruh, you're literally in the house,
You're there.
you're there. That's what like the when they first showed up and he was like doing coke in the living room. I'm like, oh no. I thought he was gonna be a bigger part of the story, but he wasn't. But like
Mm-hmm.
the second he was like, he like was putting all the dots together. He's like, they have never been outside of like this radius, so that means it has to be like a central located like house. It's probably got to be in this section. And he's like, I know so and so lives here, so and so lives there. And I'm like, oh man, this guy's gonna get it. Except then he's like, I don't know anything past this. And I'm like, oh, you're so close, you're
He did
so
his
close, my
best, and
guy.
then he died anyways.
And
So
yeah, yeah, and the grabber was like, "Look what you made me did to my little brother. He's the only one I loved." And I was like, "Did you love him?" Cuz it didn't, I mean,
you had no hesitation on killing him.
yeah.
So
And also like you let him do coke in your living room, so
yeah.
I don't know if that counts as love, but I mean, I guess to each their own. Um and then the twist at the end, like the kind of like full circle moment, which I really enjoyed, was that like Gwen goes into like this like huge like out of body vision experience, which is a really good like leading point into the second movie because that happens a lot in the second movie. But like
Mm-hmm.
she like basically follows the night that her mom died, and it turns out that like
Mm-hmm.
um because they had thought that she committed suicide, and it turns out she didn't. She was actually murdered, um, because the grabber got her, and that was like his first like victim, and then he hung her from the ceiling to make it look like she hung herself. And I'm like, that, and then that's when we find out that the reason the dad is so distraught and lost is because he's the one that found his wife in the garage hanging
Yeah.
from the beams, and that's so terrible. And he's got the kids are asleep inside, and so that like now you can't let the kids see that. And he just like took the blunt of the blame for her death because the kids
Mm-hmm.
are like, you're the reason she left, you're the reason that she wanted to die, and blah 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 and yada yada. And it's like it wasn't even, he had absolutely nothing to do with it. I'm like, that's so sad.
Yeah, and probably would not be an alcoholic if it had not happened, but you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I will say, spoiler for the second one, he is a better human being in
Oh,
the
good,
second
good,
one.
good, because
So
he's the
yeah,
real piece of work in the first one.
yeah. The first one, I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, he does get his act together in the second one, which is really nice because at least like he's clearing up his life. But unfortunately, both of his children are very traumatized, and so they're going through a lot. But it's like and it's not his fault. It's totally understandable where he's trying to focus on himself, so he's not really focusing on the kids, and so the kids are just kind of floating in space, especially Finney, because he's just like, I don't know what to do with my experience from this because I can't even imagine being stuck. He was in that house, that basement for like a week, couple
Yeah,
weeks,
drinking
something
toilet
like
water
that.
and shit.
Yeah, yeah, and then like never knowing like if your food is poisoned. Like he did, I don't think he really ate or drank anything while he was in there because you don't know what the grabber, what game he's playing. But
Yeah, nobody knows except for him.
yeah, and sometimes even the grabber doesn't know. He's something else, that's for sure. Um, but I do love the aesthetic of this movie. Is really, I love it. It's kind of, that's why I think it's like the 70s or 80s. It
Mm-hmm.
has that very like grainy feel to
Mm-hmm.
it. I love that it's kind of on the grungy side, so nothing feels like oddly like squeaky clean or like a set. Like it feels very realistic. It almost feels like you could have filmed this, like it could have been like a very much indie film where like
Mm-hmm.
you get a crew of like four and a couple of actors and you just like film at somebody's house. Like it has that very grounded
Yeah,
feeling.
like it's very realistic, like except for like the supernaturally parts and the dead
Yeah,
children talking to them. But
yeah, but like
kids
I think
getting
that,
grabbed off the street in the 70s was probably a very real thing.
yeah, and like not knowing how to track anybody off of that too, because I mean like there's security cameras, but like the grabber grabbed all of these kids at very obvious locations, but also non-camera locations. Like there's no security, no people. Like it was very interesting to see. Like I highly recommend this movie if you like thriller movies. And just like I think it's an overall good story. Is it a perfect movie? No. But I enjoyed the first one more than I enjoyed the second one.
Okay, I was
So
gonna ask which one you liked better.
yeah, I definitely like the first one better. I think the second one gets into Gwen's powers, so it's very supernatural. And to me, when you start getting into like supernatural and scary movies, it can be a little goofy
Mm-hmm.
because like so like when Gwen's in her visions, like her body stays, but like there was like a point where like she in her vision is like dragged into some water, so her body in real life all of a sudden is soaked with water, so it's like that like animation of that. I'm like, okay, it's a little goofy. And
Yeah.
then also like the grabber really likes to like throw her around in her visions, but like the way he does it also like yeets her physical body around in real life. So like her body is like flying around, and Finney and the other kid that is in the second movie are just like literally like watching her get tossed across the room. And so you're like, okay, that's a little that's a little goofy. Like, but it's definitely when, because the grabber dies at the end of this first movie, and you're like, oh, thank God, like he's done. So like the second movie is more like his spirit is still alive. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's because I remember when I finished the first one, because I literally watched the first one and then got out of my car and then walked into the theater with Lauren to see the second one. So I was like, I don't know how they're going to continue. He died,
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
but it's more like his spirit is still hanging on. So they're basically, in very layman's terms, trying to like exorcise his spirit off of this earth.
Mm.
Um, so that's how they did a second one. I don't think it could be a trilogy, in my opinion. Like I feel like now he's dead because
Yeah.
like this one, obviously the first one, we're focusing on Finney and Gwen, particularly Finney, and then like what is like happening present day, and then the second one is again like a bit further. It's like 4 or 5 years later, I think. But it deals with the grabbers like first victims kind of situation. So
Mm-hmm.
we've seen the beginning of the grabber, and we've seen the quote unquote like present day slash end of the grabber. So I don't think they can make a third one. If they do, then it's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
I think the second one, they pushed it far enough. I think that's where they should stop, unless they get into the kind of like copycat serial killer like
Mm-hmm.
perspective.
Yeah, that
Then
would make
maybe they
sense.
could do a third one, or like a, well, I don't know, because like I mean, he can't really come back from what happened in the second one. So I feel like even if it was oh, he's back for revenge, like I don't think that would work very well with the way they've done one and two. So
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely recommend one for sure. It's not very long. It's a short movie. It's
That
under
is a
2
very
hours, I
short movie.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
Which, although honestly, a lot of Blumhouse movies are. They're not very
Yeah,
long.
they aren't long, which is good in my book because I tell you what, 3 hour movies are just my attention span is like not that long.
Yeah. Now, I have a question for you. Did you like this one or Megan better? Because I feel like they're very similar level of spooky.
I think I liked this one a little bit better just because it had like the realistic factor of it was really
Mm-hmm.
like it's creepy, and the
Yeah.
fact that they like filmed it like or well like it took place in the 70s
Yeah.
um made it even creepier because it's like that is a thing that happened in the 70s. So
Yes.
um I think I liked this one better.
Me too.
Hmm.
I think this one will warrant a rewatch.
Yeah.
Whereas like Megan, I could probably go like the rest of my life without rewatching it.
Yeah. Have you seen the second Megan? I forgot if you have or not.
No, I have
Me
not.
either. Me either. I
So
think it's on Peacock, I think.
probably. We will definitely have to watch that. And then we're definitely going to have to get Lauren on the podcast for that episode because Lauren is the biggest Megan fan that I personally know. She loves anything Megan related. So I remember when we did the first one, she was like, oh, you talked about my girl without me? And I was like, don't worry, homegirl. We're going to watch the second one and we're going to have you in there.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be interesting. See, Megan's one of those that like the first one, I'm like, okay. And then the fact that they made a second one and all of the advertisements made it look really goofy. So like my
Yeah.
expectations for Megan 2.0 are very low. Whereas
Blumhouse
like,
is very like I feel like they are such like hit and miss
yeah.
with their movies. Like I thought it was good, but definitely like not one that I probably will rewatch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I do like to random like side tangent but still related. Um Ethan Hawke actually like has a grabber mask that like I don't know if it's the one from the movie, but or if it's one from like Spirit Halloween, but that's like his go-to Halloween costume, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And like that would be my move too if I was in a scary movie. It's my costume from now on.
Oh yeah, that's like yeah, cuz it is
And
terrifying.
it's a
So,
mask too, so like you can literally go out and nobody will know that it's you, even though you literally are the grabber. Like you played the grabber in the actual movie.
yeah, that's crazy. That's I mean that is the thing about wearing masks in movies and people that wear masks when they sing. You could literally just
Yes.
go out in the mask and people would be like, "What?"
They'd be like, "Oh,
I
cool
don't know.
costume," or like, "Oh, like you don't look like him at all," or you're not tall enough, or you're too short, or whatever. And then it's like, no, I'm. It's actually me. Like I love when people do that at like Comic Cons. Like I
Mhm.
know Hugh Jackman has gone as Wolverine to a Comic Con, and one cosplayer literally like looked at him and went, "You're too short to be Wolverine." And it's like, but that's actually Wolverine. What
But
are you
he is
talking about?
Wolverine.
Or no, he said you were too tall because Hugh Jackman's really tall. But I'm just like that. But that is the Wolverine. That's the Wolverine. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really good. What would you rate this movie?
I would give it like an 8 out of 10.
That's what I was thinking too. It's
Like it was
solid. It's a
yeah,
solid
it's a very
movie.
like solid movie. Like it is definitely like if you haven't seen it, you should definitely see it.
Yeah, I think it's good to have as like kind of like not horror movie knowledge.
Mhm.
Like it's not going to be like I don't think as big as a classic as like a few other ones, but I think in terms of Blumhouse, definitely one of their best.
Yeah, Blumhouse for
I
their production is definitely like one of their better ones.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones too like for now FNAF is my favorite
Same.
Blumhouse.
Same.
Um, but FNAF is also very highly stylized because it's FNAF.
Yes.
Whereas I feel like Black Phone is it's a very subtle, super realistic. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you were to literally take out any of the quote unquote supernatural elements of this story, like Casey said, super realistic. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's literally what has happened in history in America in particular, especially in they're in Colorado, so like
Mm-hmm.
not I mean, even in super populated states like New York and California, but like that was like a common thing for to happen in the 70s and the 80s, which is why there's so many movies about it and so many like murder documentaries and things like that, because it
Yeah.
just unfortunately happened quite a lot because people could get away with it. Nowadays, like people still get away with it, but I feel like it's not, you don't become as notorious as you
No.
did back in the day, because like you're just like instantly like caught and jailed kind of situation. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of investigations going on, but um
Serial
it's
killers
not.
aren't as big of a thing nowadays
Yeah,
than they
yeah.
were, which
And
is
it's also,
crazy.
yeah, and I feel like it's not even just serial killers in general, at least right now in this stage of horror movies, is not as big a thing. Like I feel like they definitely had like a very like the horror movie genre goes through like phases. I feel like right now we're kind of in the more like FNAF, where it's not realistic. It's just more like a little bit jumpy. I would say maybe like a few years ago we were definitely in the like gotta exercise everything,
Mm-hmm.
very religious based horror movies. So um it's definitely very nice. It feels like an indie film. It doesn't feel like it's been told over and over and over
Mm-hmm.
and over again, where you're like, oh, I know exactly where everything is going. So highly, highly recommend. And I
Yes.
would recommend, if you liked the first one, to see the second one. I think it's really interesting because we dig further into, because Gwen is obviously really little in this movie. She's like 10 or something like that. And so in the second one, she's in high school. Um, and so, or maybe she's like 12, and then I don't know. But they're in high school age. Finney is going through like an existential crisis because he just went through a very traumatic event, found out the truth about his mom, and doesn't know how to deal, cuz the black phone is like, dead people are literally calling you for like help, for them to cross over, to help like them move on and stuff like that. So he still hears the black phone all the time. It like follows him like a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the beginning it's like inferred that he like picked it up a couple of times, because he literally like picks it up and then you can hear that somebody's talking and he goes, I can't help you, and then he hangs up the phone. So it's like, I mean, if they made a third one, I feel like it would be about just about the kids. I feel like the grabber wouldn't necessarily be a part of it anymore. So then that's like kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's really good. And so like when we get to dig more into her visions and like what that means for her, what it meant, because we find out that her mom had visions as well, which is why her dad, every time she mentions visions in the first one, he beats her because he doesn't want, he thinks that was how his wife ended up dead.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out not fully true, kind of true, but um so it's interesting to dig into her, especially because now she's a teenager. She's a teenage girl, a pretty teenage girl. So it's interesting to do, to see how the traumatic events for both of them have, she kind of like brushes it off like it's fine, we'll move past it, whatever, and Finney's just like stuck in existential crisis. Which, poor guy. Also, when I watched the first one, I was like, I feel like I know this kid from somewhere. I do. He was actually Hiccup in the live action How to Train Your Dragon, which is where I've
Oh,
seen his face.
I've
He
never
was in
seen that,
something,
but
I haven't either, but man, did I get advertised it like a billion times. I'm like, okay, I think we're good. He was also in something else that was just being advertised, I feel like. Oh yeah, I keep getting ads for that movie called Regretting You. It has the girl from, oh my gosh, what is she from? From Ghostbusters. That's where I know her from. I was like, I know her
Mm-hmm.
from somewhere. But it's like I think it's supposed to be like a rom com kind of situation. Um, but I keep getting their BuzzFeed interview pushed at me via TikTok Reels and Facebook. So I've seen his face a lot recently. But he's a good actor. The kids, honestly, superb.
Yeah, the kids are very good.
So casting in this movie, top notch, because they definitely picked a lot of some really talented kids, which is awesome.
Yeah. I think I think everybody listening needs to go and watch it right now. As soon as you're done with this, go watch it.
Yeah, it is streaming for free with ads on the Voodoo Fandango app thing. I don't know, is it on a streaming service? I don't
It's
even
on
remember.
Peacock.
Okay, it's on Peacock. So, a couple places to watch it, whether you have Peacock or not. Um, but yeah, highly recommend. Solid 8 out of 10.
And then when I
Acting is
watch the second
amazing.
one, we're gonna talk about the second one.
Yes, we'll have to watch the second one of that and then the second one of Megan, and then we can have
Yes.
Lauren on here because she's seen both
And do a double
multiple
feature.
times. So, yes, I believe that's all we have for you guys today. So, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe or follow or whatever it is on wherever you're listening.
Do the
Um,
things, press the buttons.
do the things, follow us on the socials, buy your stickers from the Etsy store, and we will see you guys in the next episode. So bye.
Goodbye.